How long did you have out of football before you linked up with Brentford and Wally Downs?
To be fair, I went straight into Brentford.
Literally the same week?
Maybe a week. I was there for pre-season, so yeah, maybe after the summer holidays, went back to pre-season, and like I said to you, Ray Harford, God rest his soul, yeah, was the person that made that call for me. Because he saw how hard I worked. He knew I wasn't a bad apple. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I was a professional man. Do you know what I mean? I trained every day. I was never late for training. Do you know what I mean? I gave 100%.
What a great footballing man Ray Harford is. And was to do that for you as well.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend.
Things like that are underappreciated sometimes.
Legend. Absolute legend.
How was the initial meeting with Wally Downs and his team? How did that go?
It was great. He brought me in. He said to me, look, I don't want you to feel like you're coming here to play reserve football. We want you to be a part of our first team. I trained. I done really well pre-season. I scored. It's funny. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine on my way here about the same situation. I scored one of my best goals, I think. Ball got hit by my centre half on a diagonal ball. I brought it down, cut inside the defender, bent it top corner, and I remember thinking, I'm here. But prior to that game, the manager obviously told me he wanted me here for the first team. He said to me there was a reserve game coming up that week. So me, loving football and trying to show good attitude, I said, I'll play. Don't worry. You know what I mean? I'll play. So I played, even though I wasn't meant to play. I played in a game, scored that great goal. And I thought, you know what, this is me. I've landed now. I'm going to, really push forward and be on the bench or get in the first team, whatever it might well be. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to be involved. From that day forth, I played reserves for the rest of the season.
What do you put that reason down to?
I couldn't tell you. Again, that's another question you'd have to ask these guys.
But from your point of view, you're turning up, you're on time to training, you're putting 100% effort into sessions.
Yeah, putting everything
well,
in.
You're integrating well with your teammates.
Yeah, I always get on. I get
That's
on
what I'm saying.
with everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think it comes down to Wally Downs and personal preference.
Yeah, maybe. And listen, you're entitled to your preference. Do you know what I mean? But I've come in on trial. So if I'm not something that you fancy, then you just want to sign me. You've taken money out of your budget. Yeah, you've gone and spoke to your chairman, your chief exec, and said, right, Constantine's come in. He's more than up to this, to the level. Like, we want to offer him a contract.
Well, most of your appearances for Brentford off the bench. Did he have enough
I don't think I
start?
I think I started 2 games.
It must be frustrating for a striker when the appearances are going up, but you're not getting the minutes to score the goals. But on your record, it's counting as appearances because you're not getting them starts.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, there was a player there called Rowan Vine who came on loan from Portsmouth, went on to have an unbelievable career, QPR, Birmingham. But even then, he'll have his own story to tell you about Birmingham. Do you know what I mean? I think it was under Steve Bruce. Just didn't materialise. It didn't materialise, didn't work out. But then you know what it is? As you get into football, you start to realise sometimes the manager doesn't actually sign these players.
Okay.
Sometimes it's the powers. It could be the powers above.
Chairman, technical director.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. You're already 1-0 down, 2-0 down sometimes before you even come in the building.
So sometimes it could even be just the politics. The manager doesn't want to play a player. That
the manager might feel,
and
I think the manager's entitled to feel like, hold on a minute. I'm not saying I don't like the boy, but I wanted this player.
He wasn't my first choice.
He weren't my player. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're forcing me to play this guy. Like, I won't play him then. Or I'll get someone else in that I want. You know what I mean, I'm the manager. I'm in charge of...
They're judged by the results.
Yeah, of course they are.
At the end of the day.
Do you know what I mean? So you get it towards the end, but at the time you don't get it. You think it's personal. So, as I said, he'll have his own story to tell you, because obviously Steve Bruce is a fantastic manager. He's done unbelievable. So, football's one of them games. You can't please everybody.
I was just going to say that. You've got 11 players on the pitch, another maybe 14 players that are not playing in the squad.
Yeah.
To keep everyone happy for a whole season and to have that,
it's difficult,
to have that bond with every individual player, it must be a difficult thing.
You have to, it's called man management.
Yes.
So you have to make people feel like they're still valued, even though they're maybe not in the team. Do you know what I mean? You be honest with players and say, look, I just don't think you've been good enough. You might come back and say you have. Do you know what I mean? But at least we both know where we stand. You know what you might have to do to get into my team. Do you know what I mean? And then you go away and you work on it. You know, if it's not working, then you know what? I might have to look for another club.
Did you talk to or confront Wally Downs and ask him for the reason being?
No,
that
I
you
didn't.
weren't
I'm not
getting
really
the
that
games?
confrontate. Maybe that's a flaw of me. I speak to a good friend of mine called Darren Curry, and you know, doing a fantastic job at Barn. And he was that boy. He was such a good player. Yeah, if he had pace, he would have been in the Premier League no problem. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, he knows how good he is. I won't give him too much. Yeah, Dazza. All right. But no, he was top drawer. But, you know, I had a conversation with him and he was like, you know, look, Lee, if I wasn't playing, I wasn't in the team, I got taken off, I'm knocking on that manager's door. Straight away. Do you know what I mean? And if he doesn't give me the answers that I want or I agree with, then I'm going to, you know, look for a loan club or go somewhere where I can play football. I just want to play football. And I think that is a brilliant way to be and the way to handle it. And maybe, like I said, because I came into the game quite late, I didn't want to be that confrontational.
You didn't want to rock the boat.
Yeah. It's like I felt grateful to have this opportunity.
I get it.
Do you know what I mean? I just come from stacking shelves in Marx's.
Yeah, I get it, man.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So, yeah, maybe I should have done that more. But I think maybe if I'd have been in the game from 16 like most people coming all the way up, then I would have had that kind of confidence to do that.
Brentford will be your second club, 4 clubs in total with the loan spells. At this point, are you thinking to yourself, I just want to settle, I want to get somewhere, I want to get in the team, get a good run of games and find like a spiritual home for yourself?
Yeah, of course you do. That's what you want, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You know, when it come to the end, you know, it was just, I just didn't understand it at Brentford. Even the assistant manager was like, he goes, I don't know what he's got against you. I really don't know, because he just don't want to. Me and Rowan Vine would have been an unbelievable strike partnership because we got on really well off the pitch, and in training
you had a great chemistry between yourselves.
Brilliant chemistry. But he would never put us together.
Did he play one up front?
No, he played with Mark McCammon.
Okay.
You know, and Mark wasn't better than me. He was obviously he was bigger, stronger, but technically was nowhere near myself. And even if you preferred Mark up front, I still should have had an opportunity. For the course of a season, there should have been an opportunity for me.
The amount of games as well that you play.
Of course, 100%. Because like I said, when I played against Cardiff away, my first start, I got man of the match. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I was always ready, always raring to go, always training hard, ready for my opportunity to come, but it just never did.
How did it end?
I got released. I went down to Oxford. Again, trained really hard at Oxford, pre-season.
So you'd be like on trial at Oxford?
Yeah, I was on trial under Ian Atkins. I remember like it was yesterday. And to be fair, I bumped into Ian Atkins a little while later, and the first thing he said to me goes, I apologise, I treated you really bad.
Really?
And you know what? I respect the man. I respect him. Because he had, you know, the what's the word I'm looking for? The confidence to come over and say, you know what, I was wrong.
Saw the error in his own actions and then tried to correct it.
Yeah. And I've got his number now. He says if I never need anything, you always give him a call. Like, do you know what I mean? I respect the man. I understand. You know, at the end of the day, at that time, there was no relationship between me and him. I've gone in on trial. I felt like I was doing really, really well. We had a game. I think it was at Lillyshaw somewhere. We had a game somewhere, and he said to me, "You're coming on." I went to put. There was not everyone had a top, so you had to just, you know, use people's tops. Yeah. Like, it was a bit kind of unorganised. Yeah. And I went to put my top on. Literally took me 2 seconds. He went, "You're taking too long." I put someone else on, like, and Yeah, so that was it really. Didn't really, and I was driving up and down from London to Oxford, training. I kind of got to a stage, I was like, you know what, this is just not for me. And then what happened, my good friends, Leke Odunsi and Leon Court, both of them, they used to travel in together. And they called me and said to me, Leon, like, you know, what's happening? I said, well, look, I'm not at Brentford. I went on trial at Oxford, but don't look like anything's going to happen there. He said to me, like, why don't you come to Southend? We'll speak to the manager and come down there. Like, you'll do well down there. So I went down to Southend, trained, done really well. They liked me. They put me on a non-contract, which was fine, not a problem.
It was like rolling month to month.
Yeah, so basically all I got paid was appearance money and win bonuses. Right, so you've gone from, like, you know, being on £600 a week to now you're only getting appearance money. It's like a bit of a, and I'm driving every day from Tottenham.
It's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, it's a big, massive gamble. So it got to a stage where obviously I got into the team. We lost at home to Mansfield. Easton Christie scored a hat-trick, I think, killed us, right? But at the end, the manager went mad. But he said the only positive to come out of this game was myself. Well, obviously, I was buzzing with that. But then what was happening, and Stuart Robertson was there, the Arsenal legend.
Yes.
Yeah, he was there. He really liked me. He said, I wish I had you as a kid.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? He says, I can see a player, but I just wish I had you, could have moulded me into a much better player. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously a lot of the stuff I learnt was off the cuff. And yeah, I was there. Within a month, I think I was top goal scorer for Southend, the first team.
You proper hit the ground running.
Yeah, hit the ground running.
Do you think that's because your mates were there also?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah,
like Leke and Leon were,
in.
yeah, you know what I mean? You know, we might not speak for a year or however long it might go, but those boys are my boys, like for life. You know what I mean? So, but still on this non-contract. So come the end of the month, I didn't have no money in my bank. I was getting late charges. It was a lot of stuff going on, and I spoke to my agent at the time, and I said to him, "Look, I can't afford to come here no more. I'm driving up and I'm not getting no expenses, literally nothing." So one day I've turned up to training, and the manager like confronted me like, "What's this about you saying you're not coming back here and blah blah blah?" And I said like, "I'm not scared. Like, I'm not gonna like. Do you know what I mean?" You know, I'm not like gonna be like going into a show. I'm saying I can't afford to come here. Like, I'm driving up and down, I'm scoring goals, I'm doing as best I can do. Like, I need something. Do you know what I mean? That very same week, they put me on a contract. But it's like it took me to say something.
Comes back to that old saying: sometimes closed mouths don't get fed.
100%.
If you wouldn't have spoke up, would you have not got paid?
Well, exactly.
It's very interesting.
But the thing is, I was delivering though. That's what I didn't understand. So that end of that season, yeah, I finished with 25 goals, 21 in the league,
top goal scorer for the club,
4 in the cup.
Come on.
I think the team scored 58 goals that season, and 21 of them were mine. So we got to the Millennium Stadium, Cardiff, for the first time in the club's history. You know, got battered by Blackpool, but that's neither here or there. But we got there.
So that was a St Johnstone's Cup.
Yeah, I think it was a Johnston. Yeah, Johnston's Cup, whatever it was called. But we beat QPR on the way there. We beat some big teams, Colchester. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I done what I had to do, and yet again, I feel when it came to contract negotiations, I should have been the top of their list. Any club, the top goal scorer is always their priority.
Strikers always seem to earn the most money.
Of course
clubs,
they do. Yeah, because they win games.
Winning games.
They can win games or lose games if they miss that chance. So when that time came at the end of the season, I was left to last. when it come to negotiating. I think they even spoke to youth team players before they spoke to me.
What do you think the reason for that was?
Again, these are questions you'd have to ask. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's something about, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I just kind of just always seem to get the bad end of the stick sometimes. But like I said, for me, I done my job, which was score goals. Do you know what I mean? I had a great season that season. Like my first season, full season in pro football, to score 25 goals, for me was a huge...
21 league goals as well.
Exactly. A huge achievement. I mean, like, Peter Taylor at Hull was looking at me. There was clubs looking at me left, right and centre.
Did they offer you a contract then?
They offered me a contract, but the money they offered me was less than the current striker, who scored nowhere near the goals that I scored. They offered me the same amount of money that he was on previously, and they was giving him a new deal. And I said, well, how can he be earning more money than me?
So was the move to Peterborough just financial?
No, I think the move to Peterborough, again, I think it had some kind of personal touch to it.
Was Barry Fry at the club at
Barry
the time?
Fry, yeah, Barry Fry.
Interesting.
Yeah, so very interesting. But remember, it's a different world now. People done what they want. I mean, I have a great relationship with Barry Fry now, but at the time, me and him just did not get on.
For what reason?
I just don't know. He used to just... Barry Fry used to drive in his car to the training ground. He'll walk round the training pitch, jump back in his car and go. If you happen to be knocking the ball into the top corner, you very well might be in the first team.
What, if he caught you in that glimpse?
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? It's any, like, we had the best squad I've mostly been a part of. Yeah? In terms of player for player. And we got relegated that season.
So would the coaches be more hands-on then than Barry? His coaching team?
100%, yeah. Barry was just a motivator. Barry would be in the changing room, you know, getting the players ready on a match day. But in regards to tactics and technical stuff like that, the coaches to take care of that.
How good of a motivator was he?
Listen, Barry, you can't but love Barry. You can't not but love Barry. Like I said, I've got a great relationship with Barry now. Like, you know, Barry is just Barry, and I think sometimes in football, even though people might say certain things, but you can't blame a man for being who he is. Do you know what I mean? You know where you stand with Barry. You know what I mean? If you come in and do well, Barry will sell you. Do you know what I mean? It's a great place to play your football, yeah, and a great platform to go on to bigger things. You look how many players have gone on from Barry Fry's teams. The man knows what he's doing. He's a businessman and he knows what he's doing.
Any moments from your time there with Barry Fry that stand out, or any funny stories from Barry you can give us?
Yeah, well, when I eventually left, Peterborough to go on loan to Torquay, it was after a game against Leicester. Leicester were in the Premier League, and for some reason they were struggling for a game. I think it was due to the weather or whatever. So we played them at our ground, and I remember, I mean, I weren't the best header of the ball. I think Cherno said that about himself. I used to hate heading the ball, yeah, because I always felt like, because I was tall, everyone felt like I wanted the ball to my feet. That's where I feel like I was more dangerous.
So when you was tall, there's all automatically playing.
Yeah, get up to the big man. And if I was heading the ball for too long, I used to just zone out of games. I lost interest. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to be that tall, lanky striker trying to win headers, flick-ons for the other guy to run in and score. I wanted to be that. You know what I mean? So, but what happened, I played against Matt Elliott, who's obviously...
class centre-back.
Right. I beat Matt Elliott in the air. I think if there was 10 headers, I mostly won close to 8 or 9 out of the 10. Yeah, just getting little flick-ons to it. Yeah, so for me, for me to do that in a game, I feel like I'm having a stormer. To add to that, I was also playing well, and I remember, getting the ball, dropping deep to pick up the ball. I dropped a shoulder, went past 2 players and hit one, and it hit the crossbar. So that, alongside the way I was keeping the ball, my hold-up play, winning headers, I felt I was having a good game. Anyway, the one header that Matt Elliott won, Barry Fry went mad. Why don't you jump? So me being a bit of a hothead at the time, like I said, that maybe I rubbed people up the wrong way, I said, why don't you fucking jump?
What did he say
that
to that?
didn't go down too well. So I think the next day at training, or the following day, whenever it was, he said to me, yeah, Lee, I've had a few clubs come in, I think you should go out on loan and blah, blah, blah.
Really?
Yeah, so I went on loan to Torquay, only because Torquay were in the same league. I didn't want to go down the league. So Torquay was in League One. I was like, right, okay. Went to Torquay. I think I scored 4 in 5 and took Torquay above Peterborough. And then Barry Fry called me and left a message and said, yeah, Lee, you ain't really had a chance here, and, you've gone to Torquay, you've got them out the shit, maybe you can come here and get us out the shit.
Brilliant.
And blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, you're the manager, you're the reason why I've not had a chance. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean, you got to love him. So I got that message.
All is forgiven.
Yeah, so obviously Peterborough wanted a certain amount of money from Torquay for me, if they
For
were
the
to
loan
buy
stay. Oh, if they
for
wanted
them
to
to
sign you
buy me,
permanently.
yeah.
Right.
Torquay didn't have that money at the time, so I come back to Peterborough, and then my first game back, obviously I was starting now because I'm the man now.
Don't tell me it's against Torquay.
No, it's against MK Dons.
Okay.
And I hit one half volley straight into the top bin. So after that goal, Torquay came back in and worked out a payment plan.
Got the finances right.
And then I end up going back to Torquay on a permanent basis. But if there's an interview with Barry Fry, because at the time the club was in Peterborough was in a bit of financial problems, and he said on the interview, he said, we couldn't pay the wages, I had to sell fucking Leon Constantine to Torquay in order to pay the wages and da-da-da-da-da and blah, blah, blah. So I don't think he directly wanted to sell me, but I think he had to in order to balance the books. And like I said, I wasn't in his starting team, so in order to get, he's a businessman, so in order to get that money in for a player that's not really starting and the club's in a bit of financial difficulty, it kind of made sense. But I think the football's just weird, because any normal person who scores 25 goals in a season and gets a move to a club, wouldn't you go there as the main striker?
You would have thought so.
Well, you would think so, wouldn't you?
On the back of a big season, like you said, scoring so many goals.
Yeah,
your first actual real run at a start at consistently at a team. You would have thought so.
So that's how it ended. I went to Torquay. Everything started off great at Torquay, and then like everything else, we went for a little bad patch, and then I put myself on the transfer list. I had enough of it.
What, at the end of the season? Or
No,
during the season.
During the season.
Really?
Yeah. Since I said I just felt like I was getting a raw deal.
In terms of what?
Well, I just felt like, me and AKINFENWA was up front together. We was a great partnership. And all of a sudden we just got separated, and then I was playing on the wide right, and just then I weren't in the team. There's a lot of stuff going on. And like I said, if I'm not playing and I'm not enjoying, I'm all the way in Torquay, I'm not up there for the fun of it. So I kind of looked at it and said, look, I'm up here. Do you know what I mean? If I'm not playing, maybe it's time for me to just, bail out. So put myself on the transfer list, spoke to the club, they agreed, blah, blah, blah. Portvale come in for me. But I think the reason why Portvale come in for me, because I scored the winner against them for Torquay.
This happens so much.
Yeah, well, I scored against them at their ground, and then I scored the winner against them at our place.
It's funny, if someone has a stormer against the team, it must get marked down by the coaches or scouts.
And of course it does.
We could do a bit of him up front for us.
You know what I mean? So again, I got the call to go to Portvale. Threw all my stuff.
Before we move on to Portvale,
Yeah, go on.
I just want to focus a little bit on Adebayo AKINFENWA.
He's the man. That's my family, man.
Really?
Yeah, that's my family, man.
Give us a little insight about AKINFENWA.
What do you want me to say, man? He's the man. He's the man. That's like, he's one of the realest people you'll meet in football.
Just like
and I mean that. I mean
very
that.
Genuine person. Then.
Genuine. His spirit can lift the room anywhere he goes. People gravitate towards him. He's on this strongman business, but he's a gentle giant. Really, he's a loving guy. He is who he is, and he won't compromise that for anybody. And like I said, that's my. I'll do anything for. No one can't trouble him.
He's got such a big reputation as well. I think Soccer AM have got a lot to do with that. They seem to blow him up for years.
Yeah,
do you remember?
of course, but he's earned it.
And he went from
his goal ratio per game is ridiculous.
Yeah, he went from being sort of a cult figure within football to then his ratio and his goals and being a real inspiration to a lot of people worldwide. It's a fantastic story.
100%. 100%. Do you know what I mean? Like he's the man. like I said, I can't like, you know, patting it up any other way. Like he's the man. You know, that's a friend for life. Like I said, you know, if he was in any trouble, you know, in any situation, you know, I've got his back, and he knows that.
Did you enjoy playing with him?
100%. One of my best strike partners. Like, we were so good together. That's why when we got separated, do you know what I mean? I didn't know why, for what reason. You understand? There was maybe problems in other areas of the team, but that up front between me and him, there was no problems. We had a great partnership. Do you know what I mean? Very, very, very good player. And he's still going to this day, man. Legend.
So you initially joined Port Vale on loan.
Yeah.
Must have done well enough to secure a permanent move there.
Well, I left Port Vale. So we had a training session. And the thing, a lot of people respected me, my football ability at Torquay. But for some reason, the manager, for whatever reason, I don't know if he didn't respect it. I think he just had his favourites, I think. And it got to a stage where at training, they will pick someone who is the worst trainer and you'll get like a yellow jersey. And he picked me once, picked me twice, picked me 3 times. And I've never been the worst trainer. I don't think I've ever been the worst trainer at any club.
To get picked 3 times, that must have really frustrated you.
Oh, I was taking the mick, especially when you know you're not the worst trainer as well.
Did the other guys know that as well?
Yeah, the other guys knew. They you know what I mean? So one day, what happened, there was a little bit of a setup. So what they did, they said, like, what they were going to do, because what it is, you used to whisper who you thought was the worst trainer in the manager's ear, and he'll somehow add it up, like he can remember a whole squad. So they all said, for this particular training session, none of them, regardless, even if I had a bad session, they weren't going to pick me. All right? So at the end of it, I got picked again.
Do you reckon they were pranking you?
No. They knew I was. None of them would take the mickey out of me because they knew what I was like at the time. So it wasn't one of those situations where they would take the piss out of me.
So the manager
like
has genuinely just chose you when...
Just chose me.
You know, it really hasn't been mentioned.
He went to do a team shape, and I was vexed, obviously, and I said, you know what? I've had enough of this. Do you know what I mean? He said, what? I said, listen, if I play in this game, I'm going to break someone's leg. Not a good thing to say, and I regret saying that because it was very childish and immature. But at the time, I'm only giving you the truth. At the time, I just felt like that's how I was feeling.
What, you felt like you was being belittled?
Yeah, of course, definitely. And then he said, well, if that's how you feel, then you better go in. So I said, cool, no problem, I'm gone. And I walked off the training pitch, got showered, jumped in my car, and left. as I got in my car, he come running over. Why are you acting like this? Why are you being like this? And blah, blah. I said, because you actually are taking the piss out of me now. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I don't even want to be here anyway. So I obviously spoke with the chairman, everything like that. And I agreed to go to Portvale. And then I packed all my stuff. I got the green light. Portvale wanted me. I packed what I could pack into my car. And I hit the road about 6 o'clock in the morning. Them days we never had sat nav, so
must be hard to find a certain club.
I had bits of paper. I had paper that told me to go left, junction 3, junction this, whatever, blah blah blah. I ended up near Birmingham. So, but I had, again, when Brilliant. You're signing on loan somewhere, the paperwork that goes with that has to be lodged by 12 o'clock. So I got there literally just before that deadline, managed to sign the papers and get it sent off to the league that will qualify me to play in that game that was that game that was scheduled for that night. So I went back to the hotel, I managed to get a little bit of sleep, and then again turned up to Port Vale to play. Never met none of my teammates. Turned up, met everyone in the changing room. We were playing against Wrexham, and we won 2-1, and I scored the winner and got man of the match. And after the game, because Wrexham, Darren Ferguson was playing, he was a captain, good player, and obviously his dad was there, Alex Ferguson was there, and as I was walking to get my man of the match bottle, he was in the foyer bit and he shook my hand and said, "Well played, big man." And that will stay with me forever, because I looked at it and I thought, 24 hours ago I was having a disagreement with one manager to now turning up in Stoke, which is where Port Vale is, and being told well played by arguably the best manager in this country for sure, if not, world football. So for me, I went home buzzing, and my career really took off after that at Port Vale. I think I finished the season between January and in the season, I think I scored like 12 goals. And then the start of the following season, I hit 27, and that's when I got my move to Leeds United.
Just want to focus on that season, because it seems to me that was probably one of your best seasons as a professional footballer.
Yeah.
Everything seemed to align for you, and you'd taken out the frustrations of every other issue you've had, and not getting the love and the shirt to really just smash form that season.
I finally had a manager that understood me.
Who was your manager?
Martin Foyle. And still, I only spoke to him.
What was the secret?
2 weeks ago.
What was the secret of getting the best out of you?
I think he just treated me like a man. He treated me like a man. He allowed me to be who I was. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
I heard Andy Cole talking about it the other day on one of my friends' podcasts, and he said, like, a lot of managers, they try to get into your head, even though there's not a reason to get into your head, but they try and get into your. I think they have a stigma about players from London, maybe young black boys from London.
Really?
Maybe, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So I think they feel like they got to keep you on the straight and narrow. They got to be hard on you and keep you focused and things like that. But I was never an unfocused guy. Do you know what I mean? So, but then you're trying to get into my head, then, and there's no reason to, like, I won't allow you to. And then I'll put I'll get my back up. Do you know what I mean? So I think with Martin Foyle, from the day I met him, managers are managers. They've got their ways about them. There's going to be stuff they do that you don't like. There's going to be stuff they do that you do like. But overall, it's a difficult job like you said, trying to please everybody. So, if I was a manager, there's going to be people that ain't going to like me. There's going to be people that do like me. So it doesn't matter who's in that seat. But the way he treated me, he made me feel like I was important. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I produced for him because I felt like I was wanted, I felt like I was valued, and I felt like he thought I was a good player. And that reflected, obviously, on the football pitch.
It reflected all right. You're still held in massive regard by Port Vale and by the Port Vale fans as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I broke a pre-war record, 50-odd-year-old record, scoring 18 goals before Christmas. I got Player of the Month for the whole league.
Fire.
Yeah, I was on fire
that season.
Do you know what I mean? And I scored away at Tottenham.
As an Arsenal fan, that must have
that
meant
was
a lot
unreal.
to you.
I had about 50 people in the. As I said to you, my family, my dad's is Tottenham, so
Yeah.
you know I had a load of people in the stadium.
Being around Islingtoners as well, you know how much that means to everyone.
Yeah, of course. Of course. My dad lives right behind the ground, so I hear that shit club singing their songs every week. Do you know what I mean?
What does it mean to you to be in the history books of scoring a goal against Tottenham Hotspur?
It means a lot. It's massive. Not just for me. I don't really make a big thing about my career in a sense where now that I've finished, I look back and sometimes I talk to my friends, I realise, wow, I did actually do well. I'm a success story. Regardless of whether I played in the Premier League or not, I made it as a professional footballer.
Massively.
Do you know what I mean? And I managed to do and get paid for something that I enjoy and that I would play for free.
Not only a success story, you played near on 400 games in the Football League.
Yeah.
So
and
to do something once is lucky, to do something twice is lucky. To do something nigh on 400 times means you was very good at it, mate.
Yeah, and considering I didn't start playing regular
Until you were
I was
21.
24.
24.
As I said, 21, I turned pro.
Edgeware, yeah.
2 years at Millwall. How many appearances? 1, 2. Leighton Orient, 3 goals in 7 games. Do you know what I mean? Brentford, again, 1 start, is it? I think.
1 start, yeah.
1 start. So my career started at Southend, and I was 24. So to hit 100 career goals from that period of time, had I started in this game like everybody else when they're 16, 17, 18, getting into the first team, who knows? But look, that's neither here or there. I've got to take responsibility for that, But I'm very, very happy and content with what I've achieved, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it.
Even though I know I could have done more,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
It's at this moment of your career that you signed for Leeds United. Elland Road.
Yeah.
Massive club, massive history. Talk to me about that process.
So basically, just go back a little bit, yeah? So few clubs were coming in showing interest in me in January at Port Vale, because like I said, 18 goals before Christmas, scored against Tottenham, knocked Preston scored a winner against Preston. I got Player of the Month for League One. I think I had 5 in 6 or 6 in 7. I can't remember.
So your stock's really high at this point in time.
Yeah. So everything's going really well. Then Barnsley come in for me. Brighton come in. A few clubs are coming in for me, showing interest. There was talks about Wolves and everything like that. Coventry. There's a lot of talks going on. Now, what I didn't realise at the time, I had most probably the worst agent you could ever think of.
Really?
Yeah, looking after my affairs.
In what way? What way?
He was just out of sync with how the world of football had changed from his day. So this guy was called Eric Hall, called him Monster. He was Paul Gascoigne, and I think he was Dennis Wise. He was everyone's agent back in the day. But that's why he's back in the day.
So he was a pretty big agent.
He was a big agent back in the day. Yeah. So he's the one with the big cigar. He used to always have a big cigar in his mouth. Jewish guy.
So he's like proper old school.
Yeah, old school. So what was happening, he was phoning clubs saying, I want 10 grand a week, and putting the phone down, which is what I found out later on. Yeah.
That was his negotiating.
That was his negotiation tactics. But obviously, because I was quite a hot commodity at the time, I think he felt he could do that.
He could dictate that.
Yeah. But obviously, the clubs didn't think so. So, and what you got to realise, and this is why it's important in football, and this is mostly why I'm on that side of the fence now, is even though I was hot commodity at the time and there was a lot of, I was kind of weighted one of the best strikers outside the Premier League. There was a lot of stuff that was going on around my name at the time. And it showed you, if you've got wrong representation, how moves that you think were on the table can be off the table. And what I mean behind that is, if you've got, as a player, you have a certain person representing you, and if that person doesn't represent you in a positive way, what does that say about your character and your judgment skills? Which I didn't realise at that time. I just thought, you know what, I'm a good guy, I'm not a bad person. If they speak to me, they would see that. But at the same time, why would I have someone like Eric Hall if I'm not like that? Do you know what I mean? So January came, I was speaking to another agent who, my captain at the time of Portvale, that was his agent as well. And he asked me if his agent could speak to me. And I said, yeah, no problem, I'll have a conversation. I've got someone, but I'll have a conversation with him. And his words to me were, if you don't get a move in January, is it okay for me to call you in February? And I was like, yeah, of course. But in my head, I was like, I'm getting a move. 18 goals before Christmas. If you finish with 20 goals in the season, you're getting a move. Let alone, I'm too shy of that. I've scored against top opposition. Like 1,000,000% I'm going in January. So when the move didn't happen, I just parted ways with this agent, and then I spoke to this other agent, and I liked his energy, I liked his spirit, and yeah, we went on from there. And he stayed my agent until when I finished my career. And maybe if I had this guy in the beginning, it might have made a bigger difference. So that's basically what happened. I didn't go in January. I went at the end of the season, finished with 27 goals, got a move to Leeds. The only thing that was stopping me from going to Leeds, and which is why I think Brighton were really, really upset with me, because they were on my phone calling me about signing for them, and I was adamant I didn't want to stay in League One because I've just scored all the goals in League One. I want to go champ. But then Leeds come in, and I spoke to a good friend of mine who I consider to be like a mentor, a man I get a lot of wisdom for, Michael Dewberry. And his words to me were, when Leeds come in for you, you don't turn them down. So I went up agreed to meet the manager, which was Dennis Wise, and Gus Poyet was the assistant. And, I grew up watching Dennis Wise. He was a legend in my eyes. So to have him want me as a player was just unbelievable. And he had a vision of me and Torre and J Flo playing up front together. And again, I've grown up watching Torre and J Flo, so I was just like, this is just ridiculous. Like, what the conversations and where I can see this going is just, like a dream. So when I eventually signed for Leeds, I met Dennis Wise in Dubai because we was over there together, and he said, I'm staying here. If while you're over here, come and see me. Said everything's going, negotiations with agents going really well, blah, blah, blah. Signed, I was happy, everything was good. When I got back to pre-season, he had a conversation with me. He said to me, you do know that if you were still with that other agent, you wouldn't be here now.
Really?
And I was like, what do you mean? I scored 27 goals. What do you mean I wouldn't be there? He said to me, I will not do no business with that guy.
Do you think that had hindered you
1
in
million
your career up to that point?
1 million
in your
percent.
opinion?
At that period of time, remember, he wasn't my agent for long. We bumped into each other in a cafe that we both go to, and we got talking. I was at a loose end, and I just, do you know what I mean, cool. If you can do something, then fine. But yeah, very, very bad error of judgment on my side. But it just shows you, and that's why now I reiterate to a lot of these young players, be careful of who you have representing you, because they reflect you at the end of the day. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with going into, and getting the best for your player and playing a bit of hardball. Nothing wrong with that. But certain characteristics in people have no place in this game. And some players learn the hard way.
Talk to me about that initial period working with Dennis Wise and Gustavo Poyet.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Even though I had a nightmare with injuries, but the professionalism, the level, the intensity of training, the
sessions, where they were thought out, were they well planned?
Yeah, everything was written down, everything to it. He was very meticulous in what he was doing. His management skills, I can only speak for myself and speak for the boys that were around us at the time, were top drawer. Gus was, Gus is just Gus. Gus is just, I bumped into Gus the other day and, give me a big hug, and that guy, he's infectious. His character is infectious. So yeah, I had a great experience down there. I think I was a little bit in awe. Maybe
of the likes of the players in the team, like Torre Andre Flo, for instance.
Yeah, well, Torre, Jermaine Bettford wasn't even going to play at the time, because he'd been on loan to Scunthorpe. But I got injured, Torre got injured, so Beck's come in, and what Beck's done that season was borderline insane. He just...
How good was he that season?
Oh, mate. Different level. Some of the goals he scored, I mean, he could score at any moment in the game. You just knew one chance and that ball's in the back of the net.
What was his training like that season? Was there anything that you noticed was he putting in extra effort with his sessions? Was there?
He was just sharp. I don't think he was doing anything different. I mean, the thing is, he was there. Maybe he was a little bit in awe at Leeds when he first got there, because he weren't on a lot of money. He went on loan to Scunthorpe, scored some great goals at Scunthorpe, but I think the manager had a vision of playing myself and Andre Flo, I think, at the time. And obviously Bedford had done well on loan. He had a good pre-season, and he took his opportunity. More than took his opportunity.
Talk to me about your debut for Leeds United. What do you remember?
I think I was nervous. But I was nervous more because even though I'd come off the back of 27 goals and I felt like I was the main man, I had the number 10 shirt and everything like that, I felt nervous because I'd been injured. So I missed a lot of football.
Did you not feel at the level you'd been at before in terms of your fitness and your game time?
Well, I broke my leg. I never broke my leg before. So I felt nervous in that. Do you know what I mean? It took me a long time to get over that.
Was that in pre-season?
Yeah.
Wow.
In Germany.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I came back, and then it was a cup game against Berry, I think. And yeah, I played, done okay in the game, but I scored on my debut. And I remember I run and I kissed the ground, because it's an unbelievable club.
Describe that feeling to me.
It felt like scoring like in a cup final. Do you know what I mean? Like, the level of... Obviously, I've been at a pro footballer. I've been at Southend, Portvale, Millwall. But you got to remember the first game of the season at Leeds, 27,000 people was there in League One. I remember checking the attendance of Wigan and clubs like that were in the Premier League, and they were getting 18. And I was like, this club is massive. You know, at the airport, you know, people are there waiting for you to sign autographs. It's just a crazy experience, a wicked experience, and a great club. I can't wait to see them back in the Premier League. I really can't. And even though I never had a great time there in terms of my footballing because of injuries and everything like that, I feel very much a part of that Leeds history and being a part of that club that will stay with me forever.
What was Torre Andre Flo like to play with and to train with week in, week out?
Mate, he's got the best drag step over you'll ever see. He's got the drag step chop. See you later. Lovely guy. Never talks about money. You know, this will sum up Torre. So I was injured. I spent a lot. After I scored on my debut, after coming back from breaking my leg, doing my whole pre-season again, I scored and broke my toe in that very same game.
How's your luck?
Exactly. So I was injured a lot. So with Leeds, a lot of the times they allow you to bring your kids in. If you know, you
really,
got yeah. It's a real family club, and so Torre used to bring his son in, and there was a jacuzzi at the training ground where the swimming pool is, and he'll deny this, Torre, but I got your number on this one. Johan, which is his son, said, you got to bear in mind, Torre never talked about money, never. Like, never, I had this, I've had that. It's just a very low-key, lovely, gentle giant, basically. So Johan said to me, this is like the one we got at home. So I was like, this big jacuzzi, you got one of these at home? So when I saw Torre, I went, Torre, what, you got jacuzzis at home, yeah? He went, no. I goes, well, yeah, you have, because Johan just told me. And then he just laughed and kind of walked off, like. But that's Torre. Do you know what I mean? Never try and floss on you or anything like that. Just a humble, brilliant footballer, brilliant individual. Do you know what I mean? I was injured and he was injured, so we spent a lot of time together in the hotel. Went out for meals and, do you know what I mean? Had an odd night here, there and everywhere. And he's just a good guy, man.
Who else was in that Leeds team? What other faces and players are in that squad?
In that squad, Bradley Johnson, Alan Thompson.
Great player.
Yeah, his left foot was a joke. Seb Carroll, Trezor Kando, Curtis Weston, Matt Heath. Who else? Dave Prutton, who's a media specialist now.
Did you play for Nottingham Forest?
Sheffield Wednesday. Jonathan Douglas, Irish wizard. Andy Hughes, first team coach at Huddersfield, now at Sheffield United. Come on, who else? Matt Heath. Did I say Matt Heath?
Was there a good camaraderie and a good bond in that squad?
Mate, any given day, you could see us all in the town centre, 6, 7 up.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. We are... Rui Marquez, forgot about Rui. We had such... Dougie Freeman was there. Yeah, Dougie Freeman. We had such a lovely, like, it was just a spirit within the camp was unreal. Did I mention Fabian Delph?
You didn't mention Fabian Delph, actually.
Wow. That's my guy, man.
He must have been quite young at this stage.
He was 16, man.
16.
Yeah.
Let's focus a little bit on Fabian Delph, actually. At 16, obviously, massive potential, massive talent. What was he like? Talk to us about it.
Oh, mate, that boy there just brings a smile to my face, man. Do you know what I mean? I had him as a youngster. Unbelievable talent. Unbelievable person. Quiet off the pitch, but on the pitch, you know he's there. I got so much love and respect for what he's done, how he's gone about, his career, his focus. I look at him like he's like my little brother. You know what I mean? I should look after him properly, look out for him, you know what I mean? Again, what I said to you about that respectful to another level. He was just such a good player.
Did you know at that time he was going to go on?
You can see, you know what I mean? I don't know whether it's very hard to say where people are going to go because you never know. Injuries, attitude, loss, you don't even know. But in terms of ability, he was just on another level. Do you know what I mean? And the confidence that he had, when you think as a 16-year-old to come in and train with the first team, with there's big personalities there, and he used to just hold his own and do it, shows you why he is where he is now and where he's been. Do you know what I mean? I tell you, let me tell you what sums up Fabian Delph, yeah? I went to Man City. He's in my documentary, okay? Massive supporter of everything I do, okay? Always there. He sends my son tops, kits, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Yeah? And I went to Man City. I went to the training ground. And after I finished interviewing him or having a conversation with him, he had to go, obviously, to the main ground for the game. So he said, look, just finish up here and then come and meet us. So that's cool, no problem. The lady that he left us there, she said, you know what? He is the nicest person at this club. He treats us all with respect, from the kit man to the dinner lady to whoever. Yeah, he's just such a nice person. And I said to the lady, you know what? I've known him since he was 16. He's just the same person.
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? And
no change with him.
No change with him, man.
And growing up and becoming a big star.
Seriously, man. I love that geezer. I love him. I buzz off him. Do you know what I mean? And I when he made his debut into the first team, and I was getting people phoning me, telling me, this boy, he got man of the match after man of the match after man of the match. He destroyed it. I don't think it would ever be done the way he done it.
How would you describe the Dennis Wise era at Leeds? How would you summarise that?
I'll say it was a family. It was a family orientated place. He made us all feel like we were part of something, which I think is important. When you feel like you're a part of something, you get the best out of people. And he was honest. I think one time he didn't put me in the squad one game, and he pulled me to one side. He said, "Big man, it hurts me to leave you out, but I feel like I feel like you're happy to be here when I want you to. I know you've had your injuries, but I want you to kick that door down and come and get your spot." Do you know what I mean? And I respected him for that. Because I thought, you know what? Other managers could just leave you out.
Rather than just bombed you out. He explained to you the logic behind it.
Yeah, and when I went for a dramatic time. I broke my leg, came back, scored on my debut, and then broke my toe. And then we were 3-0 down to Oldham at home. And I was driving Wisey mad. I said, put me on the pitch. I want to score. I've got to go. I was driving him crazy. And then half time come, he said, "You're going on." And then I scored, started the second half, I think 20 seconds. And just as I scored, I think the guy kicked my arm. I was diving, heading the ball, kicked my arm, and my arm bent as I landed, and I broke my arm. So that was the end of me.
Three serious injuries,
literally one after the other,
consecutively.
Yeah, and it killed me mentally. It killed me. But one thing that kept my spirit up is every single day before training, all the boys would come up, the players would come up and see me. Gus would come up, Dennis would come up and come and see me on the injury bed every single day. And it made me feel a part. When there was away games, they paid for me to have an extra room to come along to the games to support the boys. So I weren't just left in the lurch. Right, you're no good to us here. You're going to be just here. Or, you know what I mean? They made me feel like I was part. Because remember the start of that season, they went on a massive run of unbeaten games. We had the deduction, you know, for 25-point deduction. And, you know, it was just like, how are these guys going to get that back? And we just missed out on promotion through the playoffs. And that was all down to Dennis and Gus and what they kind of brought to Leeds, you know what I mean? And what they had, you know, in and around the squad in regards to personalities and characters, you know what I mean? They had the right people. We all got on. It was like a massive family. And it all went pear-shaped when Gus left. Gus went to Tottenham. And, you know, Wise, he was on his own, and the crowd kind of got on him a lot because of the Chelsea connection, and it was very difficult for him. And eventually, you know what I mean, I think he just had enough of it, do you know what I mean? And then McAllister come in, and it was just never the same. It was never the same.
When Dennis Wise left, obviously he had done such a tremendous job with the club. As you mentioned, their 25-point deduction, a lot of teams instantly relegation if you've got that kind of points to come back
Look
from,
at Bolton.
let alone get near the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic achievement. When he left, was there a real sadness in the club and with the team and the players?
Massive. It was like letting air out of a balloon. Do you know what I mean? It was like letting air out of a balloon. We used to go for meals with him, like, you know, like we could speak to Gus, we could phone Gus, and Gus would say, I can't remember what the restaurant, there's a restaurant right near Leeds train station, a nice Italian, if it's Zaro's, I can't remember what it's called, but, you know, we could, come and meet us, and we'll sit there and have a meal with him, like, you know, that's not normal. Like, normal people don't do that, you know, normal managers don't really, they kind of distance themselves, you know. But as much as they were friendly and warm, forthcoming towards us, you still knew not to cross that boundary with them. Do you know what I mean? You had far too much respect for them to ever do that anyway, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Gary McAllister came in. How did you initially get on with him?
I got on with him well. I got on with him like a house on fire, to be fair. Because even during my broken arm, he made training non-contact just so that I could get involved. He, again, put me in the squad on away trips, and I told him I can't play because my arm. And he said, well, he says a lot of the boys look up to you. You're good energy around the place, so I want you to be it. And I was like, wow, wicked, like, this is really good. It all went pear-shaped when he brought a coach in who, long story short, tried to attack Brentford physically, and I weren't having it.
So, am I right in saying the coach that came in, new coach, had an altercation with Jermaine Beckford?
Yeah.
And then you've stuck up for Jermaine in that situation?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate any more on that?
I won't go too much into it, but, like, yeah, I stood up. I mean, and after that, I had to go on loan.
Really?
Yeah, I went on loan, and then
so Gary McAllister's literally sent you out on loan.
Yeah. It was just a shame, really, because like I said, I really liked him as a person. I thought we got on really well, but like I said, I think he had a relationship with this guy prior anyway. So it's like look, if you're my guy and someone, I mean, I'm gonna, and so I understand it at the time. Like I said, I'm 42 now, so a lot more maturer and understanding of certain situations.
I suppose you had a lot of time to think about it as well.
Yeah, of course.
These things always will pop into one's head over time.
Yeah. I still had another year left at Leeds, but I was like, if I'm not going to play, like I said to you, like it's shown throughout my career, if I'm not going to play, or I'm not even having a chance, no matter what I do, then I'm going to go. And I knew the writing was on the wall, because when I came back from my loan spell at Oldham, first day in training, we played these little mini-sided games, and I was literally, everything I was hitting was like stanch, bottom corner, side netting. I was just literally on fire. The boys were buzzing, I was buzzing, and he never said nothing. And then we used to do these sessions where the corner takers would go out to each flank, and they would take corners from the from the corner line, and wherever way the ball come in, you got 2 touches. So if it comes high, you got to use your head, and then you got to finish it. And the ball came over. It was a high one. I think Bradley crossed it for me, Bradley Johnson, and then I took it on my chest and somehow managed to wrap my foot round and volleyed it, and it got stuck in the stanch. Yeah, and everyone just went, "Oh my
God!"
God!
In between the netting and the post.
Yeah, it just got stuck. Yeah, like that. In fact, it went. Yeah. So, and then when I looked around, he just stood there and didn't even acknowledge it or say anything. And I think that moment there, I knew it doesn't matter what I do. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what I do. And then we got to the playoff final, and he went to the playoff final without putting one striker on the bench at Wembley. He left us all out. And
Jermaine Beckford as well?
No, Beckford was starting, obviously.
Sorry,
Bex was top boy. I think it was Bex and Trezor, Kando up front. But he left myself, even Anthony Eldin, who he kind of brought into the club and kind of put in front of me, even left him out. He left Seb Carroll out. He left us all out. But you got to accept sometimes you're not for everybody. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm just a young boy from the streets of Hackney and Tottenham. We grew up with some bad people who've done some bad things. I've been involved in some serious situations. I've seen a lot. I say I won't go too much into it, but I've seen a lot. So for me to even get to where I've been and where I've got to, like through this game, like I'm a success, man. I'm happy.